Hello and welcome to this next video on mobile repairing. In front of you, you will be able to see a simple feature phone. We understood the parts of the feature phone in one of the earlier videos. In this video, we will try and understand how we can open this mobile phone, look at each of the internal parts, try and remove them from the mobile phone and reassemble them after we place them in the right position. Let's get started with understanding each of the specifics for doing the entire assembling of this mobile phone. Now, first of all, in order to open these kind of mobile phones, you can either use an aligner or you can even use your fingernails to open them. Now, whichever way you are opening these mobile phones, please ensure that you exercise extreme care while you are opening the mobile phone, because the parts, the external parts are basically made of plastic, and if you put too much pressure on the external parts, the plastic might break or the lock system inside might break, and you may never be able to close the mobile phone properly after that. So, ensure that you exercise extreme care and caution while you are opening these mobile phones. Even if you are using an aligner, please ensure you use a flat head aligner. A very thin flat head aligner is what you need to use to ensure that you open these mobile phones properly without causing any damage to the mobile phone or its internal parts. Now, before opening the mobile phone, first ensure that you remove the back cover. In this phone, you have a small button there, you press it and you can slide the back cover outside. Once the back cover is removed, you can see the battery inside. Place your fingernails and try and gently push the battery out, and you can remove the battery from the mobile phone. Now, you will be able to see the SIM card slot, the battery connector and other parts on the back side. Now, let's go and open the front panel. Now, in order to open the front panel, you can, as we spoke earlier, you can either use your nails or you can use a very small aligner. So, let's slide our nails in from one end of the front panel and slowly start sliding down our fingers to unlock the front panel. Now, as you can see here, place your fingernails gently on one side and start sliding it down the way you see it on your screen, and you will be able to see that the front panel is getting unlocked. Now, do it on the other side and you will be able to unlock the front panel. As you can very clearly see, it's a very gentle process. Please ensure that you don't apply too much force while you're doing it, otherwise the locks inside could break or even the plastic covering could break. So, even when you're using aligners, please ensure that you place it gently and push the front panel out. Now, we've opened the front panel and this is where all your keypad and the display screen or the plastic screen is placed. Inside, you will be able to see the display panel. This is called the display panel and the speaker panel. This is where the display is mounted as well as the speakers are mounted. This is placed in position with the help of a couple of screws. Use the right aligner to open these screws. Always ensure that you place the mobile on a fixed table to do it. We are using the hands now to ensure that we are able to capture it on the camera. Once you have removed the necessary screws, you can slightly shake it out and the display panel is completely removed now. Once you remove the display panel, you will be able to take the PCB out. Now, PCB, as you know, we've understood PCB in our earlier video also, is a printed circuit board on which all the components are mounted. So, this is the front and back of the PCB. Let's try and understand some parts in the PCB. Now, when you place the display panel on top, and you can clearly identify what part goes in where on the PCB. Now, there are 2 points which you will very clearly see here. There is something called as speaker point, which is, or the speaker tip, and the next one is the display tip. So, these tips connect to the speaker and to the display unit respectively. So, the speaker unit touches the speaker and that is how you will be able to hear the other person's voice. The display tip is placed here. So, the display tip touches the display unit and that is how you will be able to see the display. These are the keypad tips on which the keypad rests. So, whenever you press the key on the keypad, these tips get activated, and that's how the information is sent into the CPU of the mobile phones. Let's move on to the back side of the PCB and try and understand what components are there. Now, let's try and place this PCB on the back side of a mobile and try and understand what points go into which part. Now, the first one is the SIM card tip. Now, this is the tip that touches a SIM card and accepts information from the SIM card or passes information to the SIM card. So, it is also called the SIM connector. So, when you place the PCB on the mobile, you will be clearly able to see how the SIM card connector is placed. So, the SIM card connector can be very clearly seen here. So, you place the SIM by opening this lock, and the SIM card comes in contact with the SIM connector, and then you lock it back, and your SIM card will become functional. Now, similarly, the next connector that you will be able to see is the battery connector, and this is how the battery connector connects to the battery. As you can see, the battery fits in rightly here, and the connector is able to transmit power to the mobile phone. A few other connecting points or important components. The first one is a vibrator. You can very clearly see it's a small motor kind of thing that you can very clearly see. And there is a connector for the vibrator as well. So, the tip on the PCB connects to the vibrator and activates the vibrator. The next one is a mic. You can very clearly see the mic here, and there are two tips in the mic which actually connect to the tip points in the PCB. Apart from these are other points which are used for charging as well as for connecting to the headset. So, both charging and hands-free headphones can be connected through these points given underneath. Now, let's try and open this component, slightly push it out, and you will be able to take that component out, and you can see this particular piece. So if there is a problem in this part of the mobile phone, you can replace this part. So, on one side is the charging tip, and the other side is where you will have the headphone tip or the hands-free headphone tip. Now, to place it back inside, you need to align it in the correct direction and place it there slightly, press it lightly with your fingers, and it will go and fit in right there in its position. Similarly, you can also remove the vibrator. If there is a problem in the vibrator, you slide it out open slowly, and you can remove the vibrator and replace it if the vibrator is a problem in these mobile phones. Again, to place it back, gently press it in, and it will go right in and fit in into its respective positions. So, the vibrator is also placed. Now, one other special component that you will notice here is the ringer component. The ringer is what gives you the ringtone when somebody calls you or when a message comes in. So, this is the ringer part which is placed on top. You can also remove this ringer part by pushing it slightly out, and if there is a problem in the ringer, you can remove this part and replace it with a new ringer component. Again, gently place it, press it tightly so that it fits in into its position. So, we have seen the ringer, the battery connector, the vibrator, and the mic as well as the headphone connection point. One other important aspect that you will see here has an antenna as well. So, there is an antenna on top. You will see 2 points there. Those are the antenna tips. Antenna is essentially used to connect your mobile phone to the mobile network. So, whenever there is a problem with accessing the network, you will also need to check the antenna points to ensure that they are proper, and if they are found to be faulty, you can replace these 2 antenna points given inside the mobile phone. Now, let us try and understand how do we assemble this back into its position. To assemble it, first ensure that you place the back panel which covers the key components in a metal panel. This is to protect the key components from damages. The metal component also has details of the mobile phone, its IMEI number, and a few other important information. Once the back panel is placed, we place the PCB inside the back cover of the mobile, and on top of it, we will place the display and the speaker panel. Please ensure that you align it in the right direction and ensure that the screws are properly aligned. Once you place it back, pick up the screws that we removed earlier and place them in the right position. Please use the right sized aligner and ensure that you are gentle while you are screwing back these screws into the mobile phone. While screwing them back, ensure that you place the mobile phone on a hard surface so that the screws go in directly into the mobile phone and in a straight direction. Once the panel and the PCBs are placed, we can replace the front panel of the mobile phone. The front panel is what houses the keypad, and you need to press it lightly to ensure that it gets locked inside. Do not exert too much pressure or the locks could break. Also ensure that you are placing it in the right position while you are placing the front panel. Replace the battery at the back in the right position and slide the back cover back into the mobile phone. Now you have reassembled the entire mobile phone. We have very easily stripped down the entire mobile to the PCB level, looked at each of the components inside this mobile, and we have reassembled all of them into its original position. Whenever you are working on any of these things, please ensure that you exercise extreme care so that the internal components of the mobile phone are not affected while you are opening or reassembling the mobile phone. We hope you have learned how to work on opening or reassembling a mobile phone using this video. We will continue learning more about different types of phones and how to work on PCB components going forward. Thank you very much.